Hello, I'm Derek from Inflatable Sup Authority, and today we'll be reviewing the Bote Low Rider. We'll be going through all the features, specs, as well as some of my thoughts when I was paddling it. Stay tuned. Who is the Bote Low Rider for? The Bote Low Rider is for paddlers who are just starting out. It's a very wide board, so it gives you a very stable base. That also opens the door to lots of different sup activities such as fishing, yoga, as well as having a smaller passenger on board. This is also a really good dog pick because there's a full deck pad along the length of the board, which means they don't slip on the PVC whenever it's just up front here. So you get that full deck pad grip everywhere. I'm just gonna quickly go over some of the specs of the Bote Low Rider here. So the board is 10 foot 6 inches. By the way, this is the solo one. There's also a tandem, which I believe is 11.6. So if you want two people, you want to grab the tandem version, but this is just a single one. The width is 36 inches wide, 6 inches thick. And so the board is 30 pounds. So it's a little bit of a heavier one. Especially when you have all the accessories, I actually recommend that you carry it with someone else, especially if you have the kayak kit, etc., all mounted on there, which you will show in a sec. And the board has a maximum capacity of 300 pounds. Now, this board is made of Aero Ultra technology. So what that is composite fusion PVC, as well as composite drop stitch. So the PVC acts as a sandwich to the drop stitch. It also has heat press seams and rail tape on top on the sides to give it a bit of extra protection. Now we're just going to go a little bit up close with the onboard features here. You see you have the nose. There's not too much of a rocker on it. It's a pretty flat board, so it definitely won't be parting the waves as efficiently as something that has a bit more rocker, but it's not. It's meant more for stability. The handle made in neoprene. There's a bungee deck webbing at the front. And as I mentioned, there is a full deck pad on this. If you zoom out a little bit, you can see that there are 6 spots to mount the kayak seat. So if you want all the way at the front, you could do it over here, D-rings, that side, do it in the middle. The middle will have the best balance, and then there's the rear. Now I personally put it on the rear because I'm a little bit taller, and also I like to stand when I'm paddleboarding as well. So when I'm doing a lot of the onboard videos, for example, I want to stand and I want to get a judge of the board's performance. So the best way to do that is obviously to stand in the middle. So this over here is a little Magnapod magnet. Now that is good for Bote Magnapod accessories. So these are sort of like Stanley Cup coolers, but they're Bote's own. And you just place it on there and it sticks onto the board, so you don't need any cup holders, etc. We also have some rear little D-rings here. Now this is for the cooler, but you could probably strap any other cooler as well. Get to the back. These are Bote's slide-in rack mounts. So these are compatible with just about any Bote racks at all. So for example, there's a bucket rack for the cooler. There's a fishing rack, which has a bunch of rod holders on it. There's also even a light up rack, which is pretty cool, I guess, if you want to be safety conscious and you're fishing at night, or you just want to do your own little paddleboarding rave. At the back here, we have a little bit of different type of deck padding. Now this is diamond grooved, and I find that the diamond grooved deck padding is a little more grippy compared to the striped. So this makes this also a very good board for trying some more tricky maneuvers such as pivot turns. The diamond groove deck padding will give you a lot more grip, so you can bury the tail right into the water. You can see there's also a rear handle over here, and then the D-ring for a leash. Now we'll just showcase the Bote Low Rider in kayak formation. So I'll just go to the seat over here. So this is actually one of the more comfortable, if not the most comfortable kayak setup I've had on a paddleboard. The Bote seats are just great. I can't really say enough good things about them. And the key thing is that your legs are uplifted so that you don't feel those back cramps or hip cramps, etc. Your legs are uplifted, there's less pressure there, and you can also just completely chill and relax right on that back little piece there. You can lie back and enjoy the ride, have a nice little cruise on the river, lake, etc. Now this is mounted onto for me, the rear set of D-rings here. So I'll just show you, these cam straps come with it. I just have this kind of very loosely in there. I usually tuck this part though, just so that it's not dragging in the water. And these straps that are attached right to the seat, oops, these just clip right in. So they're pretty easy to install, as you can kind of see. It's just a little G-hook. Now this seat has 2 valves. So you can just use the manual pump. It's very easy to inflate these. I usually just inflate these with a manual pump. Like an electric pump is a little bit overkill, I find. So I just keep the electric pump for the board and then the manual pump for the seat. And there's also the kayak paddle. Now I'll go a little bit more into this kayak paddle in a segment in the future here, but I had some mixed feelings about it, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. So it comes with the Bote Low Rider. Well, all of this. To start off, the bag is honestly one of the biggest, most baggiest bags I've ever got. I do appreciate that for the fact that it will fit everything in and you don't need a complete perfect fold, but it does take up a lot of space. I'll go more into the features in a bit, but we'll go through the rest of the accessories here. You can see here's the paddle we talked about, there's the handle, there is the kit, that is the fin. It's a slide-in fin, so it's fairly easy to install. And then these are basically the rack receivers, so you slide those guys in before you actually put the rack mount onto the board, or cooler mount or whatever. This is the single chamber pump that comes with it. Now I personally wish that this was at least a double chamber pump. I feel like this would make things a lot easier for pumping, as opposed to you just using this one single chamber to pump up all of this. You're going to be kind of tired after that. Some people like that, as they've commented in my videos, but single pump life isn't necessarily the life for me. I usually like to do electric pumps. This is the Bote bag. Now this is made of a waterproof vinyl material, which in theory is actually pretty smart, because you can take this bag with you paddleboarding and you don't have to worry about the contents getting wet. So you can put your electric pump in there, etc., and it'll be fine. Although one thing about the vinyl is that I do find that it does stick in certain surfaces. So like for example, I'm trying to get it out of the trunk. Nylon is a lot easier as opposed to this vinyl. I find it kind of like sticks a little bit because of just the material. But it's an innovation, and we like innovation here. The bag's dimensions are 39.5 inches high, 22.5 inches wide. So this is a little bit spread out, but it's just like that, 22.5 inches. And then it is 12 inches diameter. This bag is 42.6 pounds loaded weight with everything. So with the folded paddleboard, with the seat, paddle, all the accessories, etc. So look, we can show you some of the things here. The pocket is pretty big, which I do appreciate. especially the paddle boards. I always look for a big front pocket. Bote has done that. And flip it over. You can see there's a good amount of padding to this bag. A bit of padding, especially towards the back here. It's not the most that I've encountered, but it's a decent amount. I definitely would not recommend this as a hiking bag. I think this bag is a little bit too bulky for that. But the good thing with this specific bag is that it's got wheels. So you can just drag this bag along. And I think for a bag of this magnitude, it needed to have wheels. So it's good that Bote did that. You can see there's also other things such as handles right here. There's a handle over here. There's a handle on the side as well. Easy to get it out of the trunk. And there's also little bungees on the side to clip things on. There's a little side pocket as well for your odds and ends. Overall, it's a big bag, but it's a pretty good bag. Now we're just gonna go over the paddle. Now this is a carbon fiberglass paddle, so carbon hybrid essentially. And it features nylon blade. Now this paddle is angled pretty well. I liked it for kayak formation. However, the only thing I'm not a big fan of is this grip here, especially in salt water. When I was trying out the Bote Easy Rider, I did find there's some blisters on my hands afterwards. Now the conditions were less than ideal and I was paddling pretty hard. They kind of picked up. The wind picked up, that is, and I was kind of paddling a little bit harder. So I did have blisters after. This paddle's not necessarily the best for ocean conditions. Seems like the ocean kind of dries out your hands and then you're rubbing it on that grippy surface, and that's how blisters happen. But if you get some gloves, this won't be a problem. Other than that, I like the kayak blade. It was pretty good. It was also good in paddleboard formation as well. So you can see there's the handle. Now it's time for the likes and dislikes of the Bote Low Rider. So some of the things I really liked about this board is that how stable it is. That stability allowed me to really be able to just stand confidently, walk the length of the board, etc. Also great for beginners to learn on. On top of that, that stability is also good for stability focused activities. So I would say this is a good board for fishing, especially when it has the rack mounts and the rack, etc. It's not a bad board for yoga too, just mind the rack mounts at the back. Some of the other things I liked is the full length deck pad. Now I do like when subs have a full length deck pad. It just opens up the possibilities and you could have small passengers, things like that. The kayak seat is one of the most comfortable that I've tried, both on this and the Bote Easy Rider. It's very, very comfortable. You feel like the king of the castle on the water for sure. But you are a little bit higher up, so it takes a little bit of getting used to, especially when you're sitting higher up. You're used to sitting a little bit close to the water, but after a while you feel comfortable in it, and this board is more unstable enough to feel like you're planted in the water. You don't have to feel like you're about to tip into the water or anything like that. I also do like the accessories that were included in this board. I mean, just look at them over here. There's a good amount of them. The bag was fairly useful, although it is a little bit bigger than I would like, but that's understandable because you need to fit all this into the bag. I also liked the diamond groove deck padding in the back. I felt that it's good. This is a great board, especially if you want to learn more advanced maneuvers like pivot turns, etc. You can just stomp that tail into the water, lift the nose, and you'll have more than enough balance thanks to the board's wide shape throughout. Now on to the things that I felt the Low Rider could do a little bit better. Now, this personally, this is nothing that the Low Rider can actually do to improve because it is meant to be a stability focused package. but you should not pick this board if you're looking for a fast board or even a board to catch up with your all-around paddling friends. It is significantly wider at 36 inches, while most all-around boards are at about 32 inches wide. So you do have that extra drag, and the board is also wider shaped, as you can kind of see from the nose and tail. So it's not meant for speed. I definitely wouldn't paddle this in windy or coastal conditions that have lots of tidal movement, such as over here, unless you're in kayak formation and you're somewhat strong paddler. Another thing that I felt that they could have improved on is, well, I do like the shape of the fin. It's a slide-in fin. I'm not necessarily a big fan of those, especially when it's on a bit more of a premium board. I feel like they could have used a US fin box that would have opened the possibilities to more fins. I also wasn't a big fan the fact that they just have two 2-inch side fins that are attached onto the board. I feel like those really don't do anything. They're just more for show. They really don't have any effect on the board at all. And if you don't believe me, just don't put a fin on your board and see if the board will track with the 2-inch side fins. It doesn't. And as I mentioned before, the bag is a little bit bulky, but once again, you do need to fit everything in there. And I'd prefer a bulky bag as opposed to a bag that is tight fitting, where you have to spend 20 minutes to keep folding and refolding your board, etc. Bote Low Rider comes with a 2-year warranty. That was a limited warranty, and it only covers defects, manufacturing defects, so for example from the board, etc. So if there's any failures, it doesn't cover things such as scratches or anything that was done by the external environment. This board comes with a 30-day return policy. So it does not cover return shipping, that you have to cover that. And it comes with a 20% restocking fee as well. And the items must be in like new condition. So clean your board. Is the Bote Low Rider a good buy? Yeah, I believe it really is. It is a great board if you want a very stable kayak hybrid, both whenever you're standing in paddleboard formation or sitting on the kayak seat. The kayak seat itself is supremely comfortable. I found that this is one of the most comfortable kayak kits that come with the package. This is also a great board if you want add-on accessories. So if you're a fisherman, for example, you want rack mounts or you want the cooler attachment, you can do that with this board. I also like the full-length deck pad that really opens it up to any stability-focused activities such as fishing, yoga, etc. Thanks for watching my video. I'm Derek from Inflatable Sup Authority. If you found this helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. All the links are in the bio, including where to buy the product as well as the product review. Thanks for watching.